Hi, I'm John Olsen. I'm a research fellow at the University of Glasgow, and my research is interested in understanding the places where we live, work and socialise can improve our health and reduce health inequalities. Children with lower levels of physical activity are more likely to be overweight or obese. This, when carried into adulthood, is more likely to lead to health conditions such as obesity, stroke and cardiovascular conditions. Around 2/3 of children in Scotland don't meet the government's physical activity guidance. A simple way to increase children's physical activity is by active travel to school. By active travel to school, we mean encouraging more children to walk, cycle and wheel that journey from home to school. Various factors are associated with the reasons why children actively travel to school. Those include the distance from the home to school location, parental attitudes, perceived safety of that journey, and of course, the weather. In our research, we wanted to understand how that home environment might affect the reasons why children actively travel to school. We looked at children within our Growing Up in Scotland Spaces cohort and looked at the environment around where they lived and that journey to school, and looked at whether that was associated with children actively travelling. We found in our research that around 40% of all children actively travelled every journey to and from school every day. If we looked at journeys where children actively travelled for most of the week, this increased to around 60% of children were actively travelling to school. When we looked at the factor of distance from school, we found that around 80% of children who lived less than 1 kilometre from their school actively travelled. However, when we looked at children who lived over 2 kilometres from school, this reduced to around 20% of children actively travelling. So if we think about how that relates to policy, it really shows the importance of school catchment areas and children attending the closest school to their home. Other research conducted around the globe has found that living within 800 metres of school is really important for active travelling. They found that actually children who lived over this 10-minute walking distance from their school showed a huge drop-off in the proportion who were walking, wheeling or cycling that journey to school. Our stakeholders want to know how we can encourage more children to actively travel to school, how we can make residential spaces safer for those journeys to and from school by active travel modes, and what is important to encourage independent mobility to school. We also need to understand how we can encourage active travel across the country, both in urban and rural areas, as well as the most and least deprived areas of Scotland. Through our research, we can aid the development of new policies that would encourage children to actively travel to school. This would understand what aspects of our place we can change and improve to make them safer and encourage healthy behavioural choices.